Good morning. Welcome to the Delaware County Commissioners meeting, Monday, May 14th.
They want you to speak louder.
I'm sorry. Okay, is that better? Good morning.
Okay.
Good morning. Welcome to our Monday, May 4th, 2015 meeting for the Commissioners. We will first have a public hearing, but we'll stand for the pledge, please. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I guess we'll go, Mr. Murphy.
On the public hearing, we need to open up a public hearing. You might state the purpose and then ask anybody who wants to speak to come forward.
We do have a public hearing for a vacate down in the Monroe Township, part of the North Street, Blue Jay Drive, formerly known as Mulberry Street, and unimproved alleys in Monroe Township, Delaware County, Indiana. It's been advertised. Is there any pro or con against this public hearing? Or Mr. Murphy, would you like to kind of fill us in?
Yeah, anybody who wants to speak either for or against the vacation of that location can come forward, state your name, and state your position.
My name is Kyle Shrody. I am a lawyer for the Andersons Incorporated, who's the petitioner for the ordinance to vacate. I'm also joined by Tim Atchison. He's the facility manager at our Oakville plant. And we're here just to answer any questions you might have, address any concerns, but I guess sort of as a summary of why we filed the petition to vacate is because the Andersons owns a facility in Oakville, and our property is surrounded by these public ways. The only thing is that these public ways really only exist on the record. I mean, realistically, they're just basically paper streets. If you have the map in front of you, the public does not use them. They're non-paved. I mean, some of the alleyways are just grass that actually the Andersons mow. Some of the alleyways go right through or in North Street go right through our facility. So, I mean, basically, as I said before, these public ways don't really exist in reality. So we just wanted to file the petition to vacate and to sort of make the records reflect reality and how we usually use use that land.
I think back then they kind of used them as utility right away.
Yeah, I believe they were set up when the area was platted. So, you know, just in case there are more houses. It's just that never really developed. So these still exist on the record, like I said, but they don't really serve a purpose. At least that's what the Andersons do.
Technically, it's just going to help you clean up the area a little bit.
Correct, and yeah.
Ownership will go.
Right.
Is the church to take the one alley 3?
Well, alley 3.
Alley 2, I guess.
Yeah. So alley 3, which is abutting our property and Mr. and Mrs. Holsinger's property, the ordinance is slated so that we get the top 50%, the north half, and then they would get the southern half. For alley 2, how the ordinance is drafted currently is that the Andersons would get the entire alley. But the only reason why it's drafted that way is because the auditor's office told us to revise it so that it reads like that. We originally had it so that we would get the western half and the church would get the eastern half, but the auditor's office told us to revise it. So I'm not really familiar with their reasoning behind that edit, but I mean it doesn't really matter to us.
But Stephen, you approved.
I did.
And the site visit's going to be next week, I believe. And this will be getting it back on the tax roll then.
Mm-hmm.
So, very good. Well, if we have no other persons to speak, we'll close the hearing then and move into our meeting. Okay, now we'll have the roll call.
Mr. Henry,
Here.
Mr. King, Ms. Reagan,
Present.
Mr. Murphy.
Here.
Thank you. Okay, we don't have any appointments, approval of minutes. I'll entertain a motion for our April 20th.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second that. Roll call, please.
Mr. Henry,
Yes.
Ms. Reagan,
Yes. Thank you very much. A presentation to the commissioners is Mr. Zirkle here today. There he is, back there. Didn't see you hide. Yeah, you step right up and tell us what all you've been up to.
All right, well, I was asked a couple weeks ago, I was approached by Sherry Reagan and asked about the potential for a county visitors map. This would be something that would be given out at Ball State orientations. It would also be given out through the Convention and Visitors Bureau on a number of occasions. I believe the quantity they're talking about is about 9,000 to last for a couple years. And I was asked to coordinate that, and so I'm in the very beginning stages of that. But the objective of the whole thing is just to encourage people who visit Muncie to go ahead and be aware of what's also available elsewhere in the county. So this map will represent both Muncie and outlying areas, businesses, attractions, events, festival schedules, things like that. Like I said, we're in the very early stages, so this is what you have so far. But what this really represents is we want something to be car friendly. We don't want something big and unwieldy. We also want to keep in mind what the real capacity for ads and business placements on this would be. So it's roughly 11 by 14. We have already been speaking with the county GIS department. They're going to provide the actual map. We have I've been working with them to tell them what we want and don't want on the map. They can do some pretty incredible things. They have some great toys down there. So obviously we want natural features like White River, Prairie Creek Reservoir. We want major, of course, state roads, the interstate, and then we'll pick and choose some of the other major city streets that we want, just to make sure that navigation is easy, because again, this will be for people who are not from the county. And then just on a side note, I told them to leave the railroads off. We'll let our visitors find those on their own. So, but anyway, I have 2 interns who are going to help us speak with local businesses in each of those outlying areas, whether it's Selma, Albany. We're going to go all around the county, make this very available. We're going to cover our prices, so this isn't a big money-making venture. So I think it's going to be very achievable for everyone.
Well, one thing that it is, it's not going to cost the taxpayers anything.
It will not cost them a penny.
One thing that Greg does need, we need advertisers.
Right.
So today we're opening it up, and we do kind of have a deadline, but it's just something that we're not taking anything away from the city, because we know the city is the heart of the community, but we are kind of the arms and legs, and we want people to go out and visit to see what a great place it is to live and work here. And we have some very good restaurants, and I hope my favorites get on there, but it's open to anybody that has the money, financial gain, and we appreciate Greg to head this up, and we look forward. And I believe Mr. Mansfield said it's 9,000 a year that we probably need to print. So,
Even better.
but we have a lot of work to do, and we thank you for getting it done and not costing us anything. So we look forward to your finished product.
You're welcome.
Thank you very
you.
much. Okay. Now we have ordinance for second reading, ordinance 2015-007 regarding the abatement and vacated abandoned structures that we've already.
I make a motion we adopt ordinance number 2015-007.
I'll second that. Roll call, please.
Mr. Henry,
Yes.
Ms. Reagan,
Yes. Thank you. And then today we have an ordinance for the first reading of ordinance 2015-008, a part of North Street, Blue Jay Drive, formerly known as Mulberry Street, and improved alleys in Monroe Township, Delaware County. What's your pleasure on that?
Yeah, I'll make a motion that we introduce that ordinance 2015-008.
Okay, I'll second that, please. Roll call.
Mr. Henry.
Yes.
Ms. Reagan.
Yes. Thank you. Okay, we have any department heads that would like to come forward?
Morning, Commissioners. Jason Rogers, Emergency Management Director. I've got a few things for you this morning. First off, I've got the EMS write-offs for last month. And Denise, I've forwarded these to you
Thank
through the PDF. So we invoiced $787,668.50. We received payment of $246,199.14, which leaves our write-offs at $344,276.63. We also did transfer to collections $580. One point of interest before you vote on the write-offs, we did follow up with the ability to take credit card payments as we had discussed, and we received $1,157 in the first month. So that's, at the advice of our billing company, an easier way for people to pay their bills. So that was very good. So I'd ask that you write off the amount of $276.63.
I'll make that in form of a motion.
I'll second that. Roll call.
Mr. Henry.
Yes.
Ms. Reagan.
Yes.
The breakdowns of what those write-offs are will be on the page, Denise, so you can
Okay.
notate that. The next thing I have is we've been in discussions about purchasing a new ambulance for our fleet. I provided the County Council Finance Committee with our new policy on replacing our fleet and repairing our fleet. They approved the expenditure for a new ambulance, and I bring before you the estimates for that new unit. I asked, we had actually in last year's contract, there was a follow-on purchase clause, and I had Mr. Murphy review that, and it appears that we are going to be underneath the amount to take it, retake it out to bid. So I've got 3 companies that we have done business with that I've asked for those estimates. One is based in Ohio, one is based in Indiana, and the other is based in Florida. I have received actually 2 of those back. This by Friday was what I asked for. The first bid was from Medics Specialty Vehicles, and it was $137,100. On PennCare, which is the Braun service, which is the vehicles that we have been purchasing, they actually sent 2 estimates. They have a vehicle that's due in production, it's probably in production right now, that they put several in per year and then they sell them. This one is not spoken for, so it is at a significant discount to us if we approve this. Its price is $132,089. If we order the very same ambulance today with the very same bid specification, then it will be $135,214, which is a difference of $3,125. The benefit to doing that is we will actually receive this ambulance. It's slate for completion at the end of July or early August, whereas if we went with their proposal number 2, it would be 180 days from the time that we sign on to purchase that ambulance. My suggestion is we buy the ambulance at the greatest cost savings, which meets all of our specifications. It is the exact same ambulance that we purchased last year in type. It's called the Signature Series.
That's PennCare at $132.89.
Yes, sir. And I did ask Mr. Murphy to review these specifications this morning.
I'll put that in motion.
Yes, I'll second that. Roll call, please.
Mr. Henry.
Yes.
Ms. Reagan.
Yes. Motion-
Thank you. I'll provide the signature, to get signatures after the meeting.
Well, thank you. Jason, before you sit down, I'd like to thank you and Mr. Ashley for bringing this new program on the maintenance. Would you kind of explain that to us? Because I'd like some other departments to hear and see what you're doing out there.
Well, you know, we run a fleet of several emergency vehicles, and that's something that, you know, we take very seriously. It's the ability to get, you know, emergency crews to the scene is no different than, you know, making sure that your equipment runs to fix the roads. So we have a very rigorous, what we call a checkout sheet. Every morning the crews come in, they go through a series of maintenance checks, as well as checking all of the medications and medical supplies that they have on the truck to make sure that it's there. For years, for probably 35 years or so, we did this by filling out a sheet of paper, and then those sheets of paper would get collected at the supervisor, and then they got stacks and stacks and stacks of these things. So one of the things that I recognized right away was we need to go to a more paperless system, and trying to do that without any cost to us. So what we did was sat down with Kyle Johnson and Jim Flute, and we talked about using eGov for this. So now every morning, every emergency vehicle that's assigned to run that day goes onto the county website, and then they fill out any the information. They go through, are all my medications there? Are all my medical equipments there? Are the tires in good shape? Has the oil been checked? What's the mileage? And so we update that on a daily basis. The one thing that we didn't do in the past was give our crews and supervisors feedback. And so now the benefit to that is every day before Deputy Director actually goes home, he sends out an update on what's being repaired, what needs repaired, what he has received in the daily check sheets. So every single day, weekends included, holidays included, we have a Excel spreadsheet that tells us where they're at. And the benefit to that is if you work today's your first day at work, you'll work Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Then you have 4 days off. Then you work Wednesday, Friday, Sunday. So something may get fixed tomorrow and you won't be at work to know. So the supervisors in receiving that every single day will, and it's color coded, so you can see everything in green is in service and ready to go. Everything in yellow is being repaired, and everything in red is either out of service or unrepairable. So at a pretty quick glance, you can see where you're at as far as your trucks and staffing are concerned. So that's just one of the paperless systems that we set up. One of the other things that we ask our crews to do is, and they do it in the same paperless system in eGov, is tell us what your concerns are. If you have a concern, fill out this repair equipment request
Like the air muffler or something?
form, so anything, you know, it's got a rattle in the front end, I need windshield wipers, anything and everything. And so we receive those anytime that the crews have something that they want to voice their concerns, we get it. The nice thing about using eGov is it not just goes to the supervisors or goes to Deputy Director Ashley, but myself, Steve Savage, the office managers, the supervisors, and Deputy Director Ashley all receive that email at the very same time. We all receive the very same information. So it keeps us all on the same page as far as where we're at. And that's helped tremendously as we go in. We have staff meetings every Monday afternoon, and we talk about where we're at in our budgeting and what needs to be repaired. One of the things that I've asked the crews to do to give them a little more buy-in is tell me what it's going to cost to repair this. And they learned that they don't realize what the cost is. So you know, it's been a bit of an education point for us, and it's been a really positive and successful program as far as our fleet maintenance. You know, we know every single day what the mileage is on every single truck. I can tell you, you know, that the trucks that are based more in the rural areas are going to have a lot more mileage on them because they're traveling further to and from the hospital and to their calls. But that doesn't necessarily mean it's a bad thing because the trucks that are in the city are making lots of short trips. So those are the things that we've been watching. We've not had a formal truck replacement or vehicle inventory replacement plan in place before that I'm aware of. And this is kind of the first step to getting all of those affairs in order. so we have some organization as to what we're doing and where we're going for the future.
But it does tell you like if the engine's too lean or burning oil, or, I mean, it shows
Yeah.
up.
So
So
as
accountability on each.
there is, I myself don't make it to every station every day. So the Yorktown station, it may be, maybe 2 weeks before I get out there, and they may have the ice machine on their refrigerator's broken, the toilet's backed up, and they got 4-ball tires on a truck.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't necessarily know that unless those sheets were coming across my desk and I got to see them. Now I receive, every single time there's a problem, myself and all the supervisors receive an email, and I see that every single day. So it's really, in spreading our stations out, it's helped with communications to make sure that we're all working in the most efficient manner that we can.
Using the technology there. Well, I thank you and Mike for all your effort on that.
Sure. Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay. Anybody else want to add anything? And, if not, going down to payments of claims, $1,668,819.44.
I'll make a motion for payment of claims.
I'll second that. Roll call.
Mr. Henry.
Yes.
Ms. Reagan.
Yes. Okay, coming down to the public's time to come up for any questions or discussions.
My name is Mark Abril. I'm the attorney for the Delaware County Regional Wastewater District. I thought I would stop by for a couple of reasons. One, to just kind of update the commissioners as to what our current issues are and what's going on with our board, and then also to make a kind of a request regarding the current appointment, just to make sure that that's clarified as to whether or not that's been resolved as to who that's going to be. First of all, currently what our major issue is, we have kind of joined with Liberty Regional Waste District, which I also represent, based out of Selma, in trying to negotiate with Muncie Sanitary District for the charges that they charge us to receive and treat our flow. Both the districts are just currently collectors. They collect and they ship into Muncie. Muncie then does the treatment. Back in 2012, Muncie adopted some rates that appeared to charge both districts for the separation of their CSOs, their combined stormwater and sanitary sewers, and in addition to that, appeared to also charge for a lot of things that were really unrelated to the plant and related to the main interceptors that both of those regional wastewater districts were utilizing. And so both districts objected to that. We've tried to enter into negotiations, but that rate has gone from, in 2012, $3.04, and is now, just recently, they instituted an additional rate of $4.02 per 100 cubic feet. That has a significant effect on the rates that are being charged by our customers. We have, between the two districts, approximately 3,500 customers, and I'm sure you're all familiar with the Raritan customer base. That bill, I believe, is up to 96, I think 96.85, something along those lines. I may be slightly off on that, but and based upon what the projections are, these rates are not going to go down. They're not going to even maintain. They are going to continue to rise. We've tried to explain to Muncie Sanitary that they shouldn't be charging us for stuff that is unrelated to the treatment of our flow. Liberty Regional actually is in the middle of a lawsuit regarding that, because they actually have a contract that spells out what's supposed to be charged, and we're kind of in the middle of that. Delaware County Regional, on the other hand, doesn't have a contract that spells out exactly how it's to be charged, but just says they'll be charged the governmental rate, which is what they're also supposed to be charging the Liberty Regional Waste District. But in any case, We tried to have a meeting with Muncie Sanitary last month, and that meeting broke down, and essentially we're in a position where I think both districts are seriously considering building a joint treatment plant to take over both solve some existing problems that Delaware County Regional has. There have been some communities or areas that need service and haven't been able to get service, but as part of that, combining the two districts and trying to provide for a joint treatment plant that will take on all the flow and take all the flow off of Muncie. Ultimately, that would be a long-term savings to both the district customers. But in any case, this is a long process, and it takes some united appeal, and that's why I want to keep the commissioners informed of that, because it is very, very important. And along those lines, we would like to focus our efforts on those kinds of things, and that's why I bring myself to the second portion of it. I know there has been some issue about the appointment to our board, and I just am basically at this point trying to find out has that been resolved, because we really don't want to have any kind of issue with that. We want to have a great relationship with the commissioners, but we're in this position right now. I think we had at least two different people that were, kind of named in one fashion or another to replace the one board member whose term was up, and we're just asking that be resolved in some fashion so that we don't have to try and waste resources.
Now, on public record, it is Pete Olson's, and I still like Pete, but I object, but that's the way it is right now.
And if that's if that's what the commissioners are saying that it is, then that's fine. If I could get something in writing, just that is the case from all of you or whatever, that would be very.
It's in the meeting minutes.
I understand, but the meeting minutes, because it was not a unanimous vote and because it was done not exactly the same way as what as it had been in the past, then we had actually a separate letter from a single commissioner that appointed someone else. And that, again, I don't care how it is. You guys appoint whoever you want. I'm not trying to get into any issue with that. We just need clarification on that, either from the whole commissioners or from the one commissioner who did a separate appointment, and that's fine. We have no dog in that.
Right now, the standing person is Pete Olson. That was voted on in a meeting. That's who the person is.
And again, but you understand why we were having that issue.
Yes, sir. I understand.
Yeah, we were just trying to clarify that issue, and as long as that's the case.
Today we are declaring it correct.
Okay, and that's fine. That's fine. I just wanted to make sure what that is the case so that we can focus our efforts on doing.
On the district, you're saying that Rorton residents are already paying $96.85. Is that correct?
Yeah, it was. And I apologize. That may be what the projected next one. It may be $89.65 right now.
That's projected maybe in the next year or two.
Yeah, based upon what we had seen, Muncie Sanitary, at our behest in 2013, they prepared kind of a rate analysis. It wasn't an actual rate study, but a rate analysis, and it laid out what the issues were that they were charging us for, and they were all, in addition to charging us for basically a percentage of everything that was going on in Muncie Sanitary's district, they were also allocating a portion of rainwater that was falling on Muncie and allocating that to both the district, both my clients, and then using that higher percentage of the amount that goes into the plant for us to pay this higher percentage of all these other expenses. And in addition to that, they had allocated some of their assets that they were having a return on investment of, and they stated 5% in this rate analysis, that we were also paying that portion, 5% interest basically of our portion of a certain amount of their assets, a return of interest on that. And so based upon these future ones, I think that we see that coming at some point in time, and we're just trying to fight that as much as we possibly can.
But But you feel like that building your own wastewater treatment plant would be a savings for the customer?
Well, based upon the last analysis that we did, and based upon what Muncie Sanitary's rate increases are, if we started and built a plant, and if, let's say we could get it done in 4 years, on that 4th year when it kicks in, probably the amount that we would be charging our customers would be slightly more than what it would be if we would stay with Muncie Sanitary, depending upon what they actually do on their rate increase. But after that, it evens out, like within 2 years thereafter, it evens out, and Muncie Sanitary's rate curve goes up, and the one for a joint treatment plant flattens out. Now that's based upon just the combination of the 2 districts and without any additional customers that it could be gathered in addition to the one little area that we're at least contemplating adding on there. But that's what, at this point, yes, certainly our goal is to try and look at this from a long-term basis and stabilize these rates. We don't want our Raritan customers, or for that matter, our Liberty customers having to make a sewage payment that is equivalent to a car payment. And that could be easily foreseen in the next 10 years.
I would just think the building, I understand what you're saying, building a wastewater treatment plant is going to be
Absolutely.
A very large cost, plus the employees to do your wastewater treatment testing and everything that goes into that. It just seems like that would really increase these bills.
Well, you're absolutely correct, but right now, at least the projection is that between the 2 districts, they'll be paying roughly when we finally get to that point, they'll be paying roughly $2 million a year to Muncie Sanitary for their treatment costs. And if you amortize that out and you then take that money and utilize that to pay for a plant and pay for the operation and maintenance of a plant, then, like I said, that's where it kind of equals out at some point. But again, you're absolutely right. This is not something that we're going to take very lightly. We're in the stages. We've had 2 rates or studies done for what that would be. The first one, I believe, was back in 2007. It was either 2006, 2007. At that point in time, it made absolutely no sense based upon what Muncie's rates were. The last one that was done was in 2012. That one made a lot more sense, but that one also didn't take into account the fact that there's this potential project for a reservoir that's going on downstream of White River, which created a lot of issues for a lot of people. And so at this point, we've kind of revised some of those figures one way or the other to try and figure out whether or not it makes any sense to do this or not. I mean, the bottom line is that if we both districts had stable long-term contracts that Muncie Sanitary would follow, that laid out what the rate structure was and what they were charging for, I'm sure that would be a better option, long-term, but we've not been able to achieve that.
Can I get a copy of your rate study?
Well, I'll give you a copy of the rate analysis that Muncie Sanitary most recently gave us.
Okay.
And it even has highlighted the issues that are laid out for that.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mark.
Thank you.
Okay, anyone else? Then, I guess we could entertain a motion for a recess.
I'll make a motion, we recess.
I'll second that. Roll call.
Mr. Henry.
Yes.
Ms. Reagan.
Yes. Everybody have a nice day. Thank you.